In the following video, ladies and gentlemen, I might use some vulgar language. However, just know that it's not coming from a place of hatred. It's coming from a place of love, ladies and gentlemen. Salty and passionate love, because I want to see Marvel Strike Force be the absolute best game it can be. But I just think they're making such fucking stupid decisions in terms of a few things this last week that have really started to grind my gears, ladies and gentlemen. And this, like, when I woke up and I saw this fucking raid milestone revamp this morning, and also the ranked reward structure, I almost died of cringe, ladies and gentlemen. It's just so embarrassing that they would take such a gigantic step backward and make a change that fucks over currently 100% of the Marvel Strike Force community. And it's so bad, man. So let's talk about, you know, some of the stuff and why I'm not super chappy about some of these changes. So the first thing we have is the milestone restructure to raids. Now, the raid milestones were already really nerfed once at the launch of the game. They used to have like Quake shards in, they were so good, but now, since launch, they were changed once every like 10,000 points. You got, you know, your 1,000 raid chips and 650 orb fragments, but now they've greatly increased it to 25k, 50k, 100k. So realistically, when it comes to every raid season, instead of 13 milestones now, you get 3, which is 10,000 less raid chips on a 2-weekly basis, which is an absolute piss take, my dudes. And again, this currently screws over 100% of the players. But moving forward, you might be saying, but Seatin, the level cap's increased to 65. Those level 65 raids are coming, and we can get some more points from the node. Well, it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Because you've screwed over 100% of the active community at the moment. The point, when you have a level cap increase, you don't take the rewards away from everybody and just, you know, give back some of those rewards to the people that get the level cap. You increase the rewards overall. You make it something that people want to climb for and get really excited about. But this is a fucking piss take, boys. 1,300,000. I don't even know how you get the fucking raid tickets to open that. What is going on? I feel like this is so much of a piss take that this one, I don't know, it has to be in it. It just has to be somebody for adding too many zeros in. Just from my perspective here, because I cannot see any logical conversation that went on to actually conclude that these were the final numbers. And to not add anything else and just keep them exactly the same is just the biggest dick slap in the face to the community ever. So yeah, just an absolute embarrassment, man. These need a massive overhaul to be reverted to what they were and then extended further, and then as well as the raid chips and orbs, add in some tier 3 ability materials into the milestones, because you went super stingy with them on the launch of the game, and people need those really desperately. Even me, as a day 1 beta player who took advantage of the mountains of tier 3 ability materials that were available pre-launch, I'm still really struggling for tier 3 ability materials for just kind of my top shelf characters. I can't even fucking dream of upgrading half the minion teams. It's such a stingy way to treat the general community and the free-to-play players. And we are going to talk about the wider monetization of the game and milking of the whales and top 100 players toward the end of this video. And the next thing is just the ranked reward system. So you might be looking at this ranked reward system and you're like, oh, see, it's just a rank reward system, but what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it at the moment? The problem is, on a daily basis, you are limited as an alliance to a finite amount of raid tickets, and it's going to reward the alliances. The most strategical tactic right now, if you look at the rank 1 prize, you get 200 of these T4 ability materials. So the top alliance gets 200, whereas the majority of kind of high-end alliances are going to fall probably in this top 1 to 2% of, you know, overall alliances in the game. and get 40. But as an alliance, this is all based off the score that you get. The most strategic tactic at the moment is to completely skip out 2 weeks, save up all your raid tickets, or maybe skip out 4 weeks and save up all your raid tickets, and then get the #1 spot for those tier 4 ability materials there. So it's just such an incredibly flawed ranking system when you have alliances that have kind of a surplus and a massive stock of alliance raid tickets, and they can open multiple 50 raids back to back, and it really punishes the people that have actually been playing the game and have been doing the level 50 raids on a daily basis and just don't have an excess of alliance tickets to continually open raids and push forward and forward. So just in my opinion, when it comes to the raids, the ranking system should be almost completely abolished or moved into significantly kind of wider brackets. But I think in terms of if you want to generate the most additional revenue out of it, and this seems to be clearly the goal here when it comes to the disparity in the rank 1 reward in comparison to the 1% reward of it being 5 times the amount of tier 4 ability materials. It just seems like it would be significantly more beneficial if you moved it to some really deep milestones within the raids to encourage big whale alliances to drop a lot of power cores on refills, if that is your goal to have excessive monetization of raids, because this system that you have at the moment doesn't encourage that. It encourages people to skip out for like 2 or 4 weeks and then just spam raids over and over again in a 2-week period to get the highest score possible and dominate the leaderboard. So yeah, this ranked reward system with how raid tickets work is just incredibly flawed at the moment, and just doesn't really serve, it just in my opinion, any kind of practical assistance to either making money or helping out general players. It just encourages people to play less and then stockpile stuff. So yeah, I think it's a pretty stupid system. And on top of that, the majority of players, right, that are kind of, you know, fairly high-end game, we're going to land between, like, let's say the 1% and the 25% bracket. So if you're in the 1 to 2% bracket, you've got 40 tier 4 ability materials. That is a total, if the raid seasons are 2 weeks, that is a total, if you're in the 1 to 2%, of 10 weeks of playing raids to take one character, one ability up. So it's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. So let's say I'm playing 10 weeks, I finally get my Yondu up, he can still 2 buffs every turn now, boom, you know, you're doing aggressive character adjustments and changes, my Yondu's nerfed, and now maybe, I don't know, Black Panther's the best character, or maybe Quaid gets a bit of an upgrade there, or maybe, I don't know, Luke Cage comes in and is the best character. So yeah, with the, you know, I'm all for making aggressive updates to the flexibility of the meta and game and making all characters viable, but when you're having to grind out 10 weeks, and that's in the top 1 to 2%. If you're in the top 3 to 25%, that is 20 weeks of grinding to take one character up. So it's just absolute one character, one ability. Let me just be very specific on that, because there are 2 abilities and even more coming in the future. So yeah, these ranked rewards, I don't know, it just seems like nobody really thought about these raid changes, and they were a little bit of a mistake to go live, because it just seems so incredibly deeply flawed to me. And simultaneously as well, another thing that really pissed a lot of people off, I'm grinding my gears like a little bit as well, is the changes, the merging of the beginner bracket and also the veteran bracket in Marvel Strike Force. So now that you have a different ranked reward structure, instead of the top 500, you've got the top 101 to 1,500, kind of that's the big bracket there. And you've reduced the amount of shards that you get by 9 if you land within that kind of period as well. So yeah, overall, like, I think in terms of every single bracket, as well as increasing the threshold to qualify for rank rewards, you've just made it so that everybody playing Blitz is getting less rewards. And also, at the same time, because the game is moving forward and more characters are being added, and also you lowered the cooldown on Blitz to 2 hours, people are grinding significantly more now for significantly less rewards. So the time invested is just going down and down in terms of, you know, the reward and what you get back. So I feel like you just need to buff Blitz, man. If you want to move it forward, you need to at least have the consistency to stay on the same rewards for kind of the the time and effort invested, or move the game forward. Because this is the thing that you guys did at launch, Fox. You moved the game back significantly in comparison to what it was in beta, and you've created like this massive beta gap, and these changes that you're making recently are just moving the game even more back. They just come across very, very stingy, like you're trying to shaft the free-to-play players. And as I see 100% your monetization model, it is entirely catered to milk the whales, like milk the top 100 spenders, or whatever demographic you want to call it. But you also have to keep in mind that a huge thing that drives whales is a big community of players. Like, nobody wants to, you don't feel like the best, for example, footballer on the pitch if you're standing there with 10 other people, but you're going to feel like a fucking god if you're the best footballer on the pitch and there's a million people on the pitch being like, damn man, that guy is really, really good. So I think it's very, very important to bear in mind that you should be looking to keep the free-to-play players and the daily players as happy as possible and keep them very, very content and feel like they're moving forward in the game. And right now, I can say for myself and also the majority of Reddit as well, if you look at Reddit every day, it's a fucking shit fiesta. Like, you're not doing a good job of that at all. You're not. And I want you to do better. I want Marvel Strike Force to be a fucking great game where there's so many players and, we have a ton of whales that are spending a ridiculous amount on the game. And it's not like there's not a big gap between somebody like me that's a day one beta player and some of the top whales right now. Because if you have a look at for example, Kraken's roster, right? He's almost got 2.2 million in comparison to my roster, which is just over 1 million. And that is, I pretty much have every single character unlocked. There is so much room in this game for absolutely milking the fuck out of your top spenders and your top whales. And, it's a free-to-play game. It's a mobile game. It's a giant fucking casino. Of course, that is going to be done, but you need to strike a good balance between providing a really, really enjoyable and rewarding game for the free-to-play players where you are consistently moving stuff forward. Because if you are not moving stuff forward, you're moving stuff back, and then everybody's like, oh, you're just being really, really stingy on this, and there's no need to at the moment. There's such a fucking huge gap between somebody who started launch and me, and there's such an even bigger gap between me and like somebody who's spending like a ridiculous amount of money on this game every single month. So there are just insane gaps, and there's so much room for making money and spending that you don't need to be this stingy, Fox. That's all I'm saying. You want to keep your community happy, you want to keep the free-to-play players and the casual players at a good level, or you're going to lose everyone, and once you've lost everybody, nobody's going to care about being at the top of this game, and your game is going to collapse into irrelevance. So I don't want to see that happen. I really, really don't want to see that happen. But I've seen it happen in other games before. Many other games. Like, I've played a lot of free-to-play MMORPGs in my time, and granted, they may not have the strength of the Marvel brand and IP, but I've seen this happen. I've experienced it in many games. Rift, Arcade, Wildstar. To summarize my advice for Fox and any free-to-play mobile developer, keep the game moving forward, because if you're staying stagnant or reducing the rewards, which we've seen in this case today, people are going to be pissed. People are going to feel like their time is getting increasingly less worthwhile, and they are going to stop playing. And when you have less players, you have less inclination for big spenders to be top of the game, so that they can have that wonderful feeling of, damn man, I'm the best player at this game, I have all the coolest characters. And that is a huge part of what drives whales, man, because I know so many whales in Marvel Contest of Champions, and you can see, especially within the MCOC community, the amount of whales and big endgame spenders now that are increasingly coming forward to platforms like YouTube to show off their rosters and all this cool stuff, because they're really passionate about the game. They want to talk about it, they want to big financially support it, they want to spend loads of money, but obviously they're increasingly motivated by a large amount of people that are interested in that game itself. So, Fox, again, just keep the game moving forward. If there is something that reduces the rewards, screws over a certain group of players, don't make it. Make it so that people are getting the same rewards or more moving forward. And I want to see Marvel Strike Force be the best game it can, 100%, man. But at the moment, there have been some pretty shitty decisions made, and that's the only way I can describe them, because I just don't see how they're good decisions at all. And yeah, step up that developer communication, man, because we really need somebody to come forward and talk about this stuff and you know, why these changes are made, because just from, you know, my perspective, these just seem are just completely fucking illogical. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the video rant today. If you enjoyed it, feel free to smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Fox, sort your shit out, please. I want Marvel Strike Force to be a great game. I want it to go for years. I want it to have tons of longevity and just be the absolute friggin' best Marvel game out there. But if you keep on making decisions like this, you're going to lose the players, and then you're just going to fuck yourselves over in the long run. So yeah, I don't want to see you go down that avenue. I'm sure you don't. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and have an absolutely fantastic day.